Who declared Mother's Day? Anybody know? Huh? Close.
Woodrow Wilson.
Who said that? Along with Congress, they all got together, they declared that the second Sunday of May would be considered Mother's Day. And here's what President Wilson said. He said that he wanted to set this aside, that day has been set aside as a time for public expression of our love and reverence for mothers of our country. So today, on Mother's Day, we say thank you to all the mothers for their undying love and for their untiring work.
Amen.
Am I right?
Amen. Oh, me.
Their unselfish giving. See, they scrimp for us in order for us to have the things we need. They have this undivided devotion, not just for one, but for all their children. Am I right? So on behalf of all the children who are with us today, and those that weren't able to be with us today, I want to take this time to wish you a merry and happy Mother's Day. Not Thanksgiving. You thought that, didn't you? But we are thankful.
Amen. Yes.
So it could be Thanksgiving. Children, you want to know what you think you can do for your mother today? You want me to give you a couple things?
Yes.
First thing is, if you hadn't talked to her, you need to call her up. If she's alive, call her up. Take time. That's one thing you could do if you hadn't already done that. And then here's a couple more things that you can do. What are you laughing about?
Clean the house. That's what
Clean the house. You know, my mother has passed away and has been gone for a long time, and so I can relate to making phone calls to her and wishing she was there now to make that phone call. And I have an office on one street, and I built a house for my mom when she was by herself. Her husbands had died. She remarried, and then they died. And so my mom was. I took care of my mom. I made sure to take care of my mom. And so I could walk from my house, which is on one street, and my office is on the other street, and my mama was living right here in this house next to my office, and I would walk to work every day. You know, I tell people that I walk to work every day. But in reality, I just walk from that street to that street. And so as I walked by, without any reservation, knowing that Mom's not going to be, I would look over there, and my mom, I don't care what time it was that I walked across that. I mean, it could be in the morning, it could be at lunch, it could be whenever. My mama was looking out that window for me, and she would see me. She'd wave at me all the time. And I'd say, hey, Mom. Now, my mom lived right next door. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so.
You got to.
Huh?
You got to do that.
Oh, you got to.
You got to do that.
You were privileged to get
Right. You was privileged to get.
Oh, I see, okay. I was privileged.
Yeah.
And no matter how privileged I was, I would go over there every day. And when I got there, my mom would say this to me, well, it's about time. Am I right?
Every time.
I said, Mom, I just came and seen you early today. Now it's this afternoon. I mean, you know. See, my mom wanted to make sure she seen me.
That's right.
That's the kind of love. I mean, really. So, you know, you could give your mother this. You could give her adoration. She prayed for you and me. My mother prayed for me. I know she did. She always wanted just good things for me and all of her children. But I'm speaking for me, okay, because I know me. And so, I mean, when I was out there and I was, out there, and I didn't do this much, when I got married, I got saved and everything, but up to that point, I mean, I was out there jacked up, you know? And my mom prayed for me, and I know she spent nights praising and asking God to take care of me. And asked God to answer her prayers, and He did. I'm here.
Amen.
Ain't that cool?
That's good.
And so you might want to consider that yourself, asking your mothers, or not asking, but telling your mothers how much you really, really appreciate her prayers. And we're talking about mothers. I don't want to just leave it to where it's just a mother thing. How about wives? See, to me, a wife is a good thing. And I learned really how to be a mother through my wife. Because I watched her raise two of my girls. I mean, I had some help in there. But I watched both of these girls grow up. And this is what's cool about having a godly mother, is that don't give up on them youngins now,
Right.
okay? Because God wants to see them saved.
That's exactly right.
Don't give up on them. You know, my daughters, they've grown up, they love God. And you can see, Jessica's been here, Jessica ain't gonna leave, she's never gonna leave, she's gonna stay around here. And that's a good thing, I don't want them to leave. My oldest daughter, military, had to leave, you know, was traveling out, and I didn't get it, but she sent her mom a card. Now, this is the kind of children we have, and I'm sure that you can relate to this. I'm sure you have something like this. Now, I didn't show Jesse's because it was messed up, but anyway. No, I'm just playing. We like to give good cards, you know, that really mean something, and then we give cards that just to have we love to laugh, don't we? And so, this is a card that Janelle sent. I just picked this one up. It said, a mother is a teacher of faith, a giver of hope. Am I right? Yeah. And God's earthly example of love. Nothing else has shaped me, this is Janelle talking, nothing else has shaped me like the lessons that you give and the beautiful example of the faithful way you live. So much of who I'm today, so much of what I do is there because I have a mom as wonderful as you. Happy Mother's Day. For all you mothers, I believe that your children would send you the same thing. So give her some affection, give her affirmation, give her emotional concerns and counsel, not counsel, but you know, you try to give her counsel. It doesn't work all the time. Give her a big hug, squeeze her, and tell her how much you love her. How about another thing you give her? How about just giving her some acknowledgement?
That's right.
That's also known as attention. And acknowledging who she is and what she means to you. Give her appreciation. Just thanking her for the prayers. You know, Abraham Lincoln, he really loved his mother. Don't say nothing, just repeat it. Some of you may not know this, but these are some of the words that Abraham Lincoln said. He said, I remember my mother's prayers. They have followed me. They have clung to me all my life. All that I am and hope to be, I owe to my angel mother. That's a president. He also says, no man is poor who has a godly mother. Isn't that good? Have you ever thought about the roles that a mother plays while you're growing up? I've jotted down a few. See what you think. And the list goes on and on, but here's a few. Counselor. Counselor. Spiritual advisor. Educator. Nutritionist. Man, you gotta eat them green beans and all of them. Accountant. Transportation center.
Amen.
Amen to that. Now, I don't like to call it that, but my mom was, oh my goodness. There's not a maid out there that does any more than my mom did. I know that you women, there's some women in here that just, I mean, when the dog would come in, she'd wipe his feet. That dog stopped at the door, dude didn't try to wipe his feet. Didn't know how to wipe his feet, but she'd get down there and wipe his feet. He can't come in this house. Yes, you did. Peacemaker. She always wanted to see peace around the family and the brothers. And she was pretty entertaining because she'd say some stuff that was really silly. At times, wouldn't she? We'd laugh and laugh at her. And so for one more time today, thank you, moms. Thank you, moms. In John 19, Jesus spoke 7 times while he was upon the cross. And the first time he spoke, he said to God to forgive his enemies.
Yeah.
They don't even have a clue what they're doing.
Right.
And the second time he spoke, he said, "You'll be with me in paradise." Talking to the second one, the thief on the cross. But in John 19, 26 and 7, it says, his third word was to his mother and to John, his beloved disciple. To his mother, he says, "Behold, your son." And to John, he says, "Behold, your mother." Now let's think about this just for a minute. I'm going to try to paint a picture here. This is really kind of a mind blower to me. Because he's beat Slam up. He can't even breathe. He has to push himself up. Woman, behold your son. John, behold your mother. Big crowd. All kinds of people mocking him. Soldiers down there gambling for his clothes. Religious leaders are back there just excited they finally got what they wanted. It's amazing to me. And all that going on, and Jesus looks down and he says to his mother, "Woman, this is John. Woman, look at John. From now on, he will be your son." Then he spoke to John and he said, "John, from now on, she is to be your mother." This is in the Bible. And from that time on, John took Mary to his own home. So, I was trying to tell you earlier that we can be a mother to somebody. We can be a father to somebody. It doesn't have to be your blood relatives. We need to be doing that. Now, Jesus, he was in his 30s when all of this happened, and you might say that was kind of a short life. I wrote this, and I got another sign up there on my door. Some of you didn't see this. Maybe you didn't see this. This is the one about teenagers. Tired of being harassed by stupid parents? Act now, move out, get a job, pay your bills while you still know everything. He's a wonderful example of what children were supposed to be like. He's our brother. Even in his darkest hour of life, Jesus stopped long enough to do the right thing concerning his mother. Even while he was on the cross, he was bearing the weight of the whole sin of the world on him, on his shoulders, and he took the time, man, this is what blows my mind, and he took the time and said this to his mama, and he wanted to make sure, took a minute, and he says, on his dying day, he wanted to make sure that his mama was being taken care of. Well, that says something to me. It hits hard with me. Take a minute, think about that. You see, when I was growing up, I was adopted when I was 5. My mother, she was in an abusive relationship with my father that I didn't know was my father at the time, my biological father. And she left him, and here she is with 2 children, no work, and she sacrificed. She remarried, and I'm not sure she married for love as much as she married for somebody to help her. And so for all these years, she stayed faithful with that man, which was my stepfather who adopted me. And at that point, when I started getting a little older, the resemblance of my real father stood out. And I really believe my stepfather, he did not care for that. And I found myself being in conflict with him, even though I tried hard as a son not to get in conflict with him. But he was bad alcoholic, ex-Marine, and he got to the place to where it just became unbearable almost. And at 16 years old, I broke my mama's heart. I left home. And he tried to come by and get me while I was getting ready to go on the highway and hitchhike someplace. That was in the day you could hitchhike and be okay. And he told me to get back home, and I told him, no, I'm done. And I didn't go back. But I'm glad to say I met Jackie. And let me tell you what, changed my life.
Amen.
That was the first good thing that happened to me, I think, in a long time. And so she came into my life, and we only knew each other for just a short time, got married. And then it was just a short time later, it seemed like, a couple, 2, 3 years, she was about to have our first child, Janelle. Janelle's 40 now. Janelle was our first child, and Jackie didn't want to bring that child up in the mess that we were in. We were doing all kinds of drugs and different things still. And she kept, I told you this, she kept going to work, and then some guy was talking to her about Jesus all the time. And every time she's talking about Jesus, she'd come home and want to tell me about what the guy said about Jesus. And I really wasn't having too much about it because, well, you know, I mean, I was raised Catholic as a little young man. Then when my mom, we got out of that influence and went to a little town, there was no Catholic church. It's Baptist and Methodist. And so the influence was not there. And so I was raised full-blooded heathen for a long time. And then Jackie kept telling me about this guy, and so he brought him. She said, I'm going to bring him home. He wants to come home and meet you. And I said, well, okay, that's fine. But then he said he was going to bring his pastor with him, and that was a no-no for me. I said, actually, you're going to entertain him because I'm not going to be here. I'm going to tell you that right now. That was like the priest coming to the house. And so I knew I wasn't ready for no priest coming to the house, okay? Long and short of it was, we got saved. Okay? And let me tell you something. That's no joke. That's a big deal.
Amen.
It's life changing. It's forever. It's eternal. It's inside of you. You can't get around that. It's almost like my mom. Every time I turn around, she's looking. You can't get around that. He's better than that. And I didn't want to get around it. Because see, here's what happened. I just started realizing how real this is. And so I allowed myself to just say, okay, I'm giving up, and I gave up, and I gave it to God, and it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me in all my life. That's the second best thing. And actually, without that, the first best thing would never even be happening anymore. Because I can remember those first 3 years that Jackie and I was together before we had that baby. And it was no joke either. It wasn't good. We didn't trust each other. We didn't know each other. And it took a while. And when we got saved, let me just tell you what, everything changed then. I mean everything. And I'm glad it did, because here's what happened. All of a sudden, God puts me in a position to where I'm starting to realize that God is real. And He's showing Himself so real to me, to the point that I just don't want to mess that up anymore. And so here we go. Along comes Janelle, and we start to raise Janelle up. We didn't know anything. We didn't know anything. I mean, Jackie didn't know anything. You would think, you're supposed to be a mom, how you do it? Go ahead and do it. She didn't know anything. You know who she called? It wasn't Ghostbusters. It was Mama. She called that Mama. And of course her mom, it's like, scary things you might think, and then all of a sudden she called Mama. It's okay, it'll be okay. He bends real easy, don't worry about it. He's not broke. And so we just started to catch a little bit of it, started getting it. And the first child, you know how the first child is. The first child is you're doing everything. You're making homemade baby food. You're spraying it, and you're doing fresh made homemade. We're doing all that. She's doing that. The second one comes around, and it's that's breastfeeding and all this stuff. The second one comes around, and it's like she can fend for herself. Not quite. And and Jessie will attest to this because she's got 3 boys. They got 3 boys. And I stood back and watched them take them 3 boys. And the first one was ooh, and all around it. And the second one was okay, ooh, a little bit. And the third one says, I'll give you that. And she needed boys, because I tried to turn her into one. She wouldn't do it hardly, but she got a little bit of boy in her, because that girl can kick, fight, and run. Don't let her hit you now. She got some guns on her. So them boys, they try to get all rowdy with her. Sometimes she'll jerk them up and move them around and all this stuff. And she treats them a little rough. Love rough. You know what I mean? Not hurting them, but love rough.
Love taps.
Huh?
I call it love taps.
Love taps, yeah. Just a little smack on the face. Give me some kids. Give me kids. We all have, I'm sure, family stories about our children. Jackie, you just shared that one this morning with a word, and it was a good word about your children. And, we don't want to make our children idols. Sometimes that can be hard for some people.
It is,
It is.
it's very hard. We don't realize.
Because, I mean, that's really, a lot of times that's all you have. But let me just tell you this, you have to release them to God. And let God deal with them. Because if you'll do that, you will see the results. Because he don't do anything wrong. God don't do things wrong.
Right.
Really, we do things wrong.
Right.
We correct when we really shouldn't even be even worried about correcting.
Right.
It's incidental. It doesn't even need to be correction. And then sometimes when they really need correcting, you don't correct it. You know. And I had a guy at Keaton House today asked me about Adam and Eve, and he was wondering how come Adam got punished for Eve's mess up. Now he's just young in the Lord, so I let him run with that a little bit. You know what I mean? And so I said, well, let me just share with you, and I'll blow your mind here a little bit. First of all, Adam knew, just like Eve knew, what he was supposed to do. God the Father told Adam, don't eat of that tree in the midst of the garden. And the day you eat of it, you'll die. And his wife got deceived by Satan, the serpent, and started looking on this, and she took, but her husband was right next to her. Now he could have slapped that out of her hand, but he didn't. So he willingly took of that, and he disobeyed God. And curse came on all of mankind because of his disobedience. Through one man's sin, sin entered into all the world. That's why we needed Jesus.
Amen.
Now that Jesus comes on the scene, and through one man's righteousness became available to all mankind. I'm telling you this day, today is the day of salvation.
Yeah.
You may not wake up tomorrow. You may need to take some thought into what it is that you need to do. I ran from God in the beginning. And when I started hearing what God might do for me, I thought I'd give it a shot. What have you got to lose, right? You don't have anything to lose. You got a bunch of stuff to gain, I can tell you. How about this? Mamas that love you. Wives that love you. Husbands that love you. Children that love you. Grandchildren that love you. Not only do they love you, they love God. Because remember, loving God, you know this. You can trust that the Father of all of us can take care of His own.
Right.
You stop interfering too much. Let God deal with it. Because see, just like He chastised Adam and Eve, He loved them. He's going to do the same to us. Because Jesse got chastised a few times. Janelle got chastised a few times. And guess what? They're still part of the family.
That's right. Amen.
We didn't disown them.
That's right.
And they've grown up to be the better for it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you this day. Find a mama that's not even your mama. And you go up to her and you tell her on behalf of all mothers and children how much God loves them. Tell them how much God loves them. Daddy loves them.
I have something to say.
Yes.
I just feel really in my heart that
Come on.
Lord, that I feel really in my heart that the Lord's telling me that
Come over here.
some of you guys maybe have had a rough childhood and might not have a good relationship with your mother. And maybe she was mean, maybe she hurt you, or maybe you just came from a broken family that just, you know, you had a thought that this is supposed to be like how a family's supposed to look, and now you have this. But I feel like the Lord's telling me that He's going to make room in your heart for forgiveness. And so that all that pain and stuff's going to be shifting, and I just see it kind of shift to the side, and that He's going to have room in your heart for forgiveness, and that's gonna grow, and y'all's relationship's gonna grow.
And well, let me share one thing here. While I was at Keaton, I had a mother right off the bat come in, and I was saying, you know, one wish the mother's happy Mother's Day was, her daughter died young, and she blamed herself. And so I said, well, first of all, you don't have that kind of power. Only God has the power
Yeah.
to take life and to give life. We don't know why, you can blame yourself all day long, that's the enemy wanting to do that to you.
Amen.
Yeah.
You've got to realize that it's not your, you may think it's your fault. You ain't got the power to take that life.
Yeah.
So you just need to let that go, because that's the enemy trying to say stuff to you so that way you can lose.
Yeah.
Because he will steal your joy, and if he gets your joy, he's got your good. And she was sad, but before it was all said and done, it was over, she was happy.
That's really good, because that's exactly the other part that I was, and I forgot to say thank you, that was good. That he is going to, help you to forgive yourself. Maybe there's something that you're beating yourself up for. I think, but you nailed that, so that was good.
Thank you. Amen.